Oh, hey, Heather.
Oh, hi.
How's it going?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well, thank you. Are you ready to answer some questions?
Yeah.
Okay, first off, who are you?
My name is Heather. I'm the director of the Joseph Moore Museum and an associate professor in biology and museum studies.
Amazing. What do your students call you?
Oh, they call me Heather because we're at a Quaker school, so we just use first names.
That's pretty cool. Where are we on campus right now?
We are in the Joseph Moore Museum collections in the lower level of Dennis Hall.
What's one thing your students might be surprised to learn about you?
I actually asked a couple of students about this recently, and they said that I played rugby.
What's one thing that you have been surprised to learn about a student?
I've been really surprised about the things that our students have come through. I had a student who had to flee his country in the night, and just is an incredible person, and just like the struggles that we can come through and still do so much.
Yeah, Earlham students are pretty amazing.
Yeah.
What's your area of research?
I'm an evolutionary biologist, and I work in species relationships and biodiversity.
How'd you get into that?
I got into grad school to do work in wetlands, and then one day there was a professor who came in to talk about his research and said he was looking for someone who wanted to study birds of prey and genetics, and I thought it sounded so cool that I totally switched topics and never looked back.
Awesome. You just talked about grad school. What has your education in your field actually looked like?
I did my undergraduate work at Bryn Mawr College, where I studied biology and anthropology, and then I went to the University of Michigan, and there I did evolutionary biology, so I got to do work on species relationships of the birds of prey of the entire big family, and afterward I went out to the Smithsonian, and I got to work at the Natural History Museum and the zoo, and I got to work on Hawaiian honeycreepers. So I got to go in the field and do excavations to look for fossil honeycreepers.
If you were an Earlham student, how would you use your EPIC advantage?
That is such a good question because there are so many cool projects I would love to work on. I really love the Museum La Brea in LA, and I think I would design an internship to get to go work there.
That's pretty cool. What is something that you like to nerd out about unrelated to your field?
Okay, I'm getting kind of nerdy about dog communication, and I'm not in psychology or neuroscience, but I just think that dogs talking with buttons is so cool.
What do you think is your greatest professional accomplishment?
I think my Hawaiian honeycreeper work is actually in a textbook, which is pretty cool.
What about personal accomplishment?
I have been talking with my dog using buttons, and he has 50 buttons now, and I think teaching my dog to communicate with buttons is probably my biggest private accomplishment.
That's amazing. Speaking of being a teacher, when did you know you wanted to be a professor?
I've been teaching pretty much since I was a kid. So I always knew I wanted to be in education. And once I went to a small liberal arts college and I really got to know professors and just the way that they get to keep thinking and pursuing interesting projects and learning new things, that just really got me hooked.
Mm-hmm. Who is this that you're holding?
I'm holding Oreo. He's a king snake, and king snakes are called king snakes because they prey on other snakes. He doesn't, though. He just eats frozen mice.
Nice. Shout out to Oreo.
Yeah.
What's your favorite class to teach?
Okay, my favorite class to teach is really honestly just the class that I'm teaching at that time because I get so excited finding new materials and new studies to get to share with my students. And I love every class I teach. And I get so excited to be in the room with my students that it's really whatever I'm teaching, which at the moment is called Great Discoveries in Natural History Collections.
How big are your classes on average?
Well, usually they're about 12 to 15 students because I teach the upper level classes. Even when I teach the intro level classes, I usually get about 20, 25 students.
Awesome. When are your office hours?
My office hours are every Tuesday and Thursday morning, and then I also have an online booking system so students can book appointments if they want to be in person or if they just want to stay in their rooms and talk online.
Awesome. Are there research opportunities available for students through your departments?
There are so many research opportunities. So we usually do research in the summer with students, and then students can stay on during the semester and work with us. Most recently, my group was looking at our bird collections. We have about 6,000 birds, and we were looking to see if we have equal representation of males and females. Spoiler, we do not.
What's one thing you love about Earlham students?
I love that Earlham students are really creative and curious.
Yeah, pretty cool. What's your favorite spot to grab a bite in Richmond?
Oh, I really like to go to the farmer's market on the weekends.
What do you think is the hardest thing about being a professor?
I think it's stopping. I was telling someone recently that I think self-care is sometimes reading that article that you really want to read and not necessarily taking a scholarly break.
What's the most interesting thing that you have learned recently?
I was just reading about passenger pigeons, and there was a really neat study that was talking about how using stable isotopes, we can look and see what their diets were. And the question really is, when forests were declining, did they start eating like corn and things from agricultural fields that were replacing forests? And it looks like almost no. There were just like 1 or 2 birds that we've ever found that showed any signature of eating that kind of food.
What's a book that you think everyone should read?
Oh, I don't know, maybe can I just go grab it? So it is really one book, but there are many different versions of it, and I have 4 versions. It's called On the Origin of Species by Darwin, and I have my own book from graduate school here, and I have a copy from the person that our building, Dennis, is named after, and I have another copy. I have an author's copy, a limited edition, only 1,000 copies. And then, if that wasn't enough, I also have this interpretive guide to understanding this book because it's so foundational in our understanding of how species are related and how they diversify and change over time. And it's also just really beautifully written. So I find a lot of inspiration in the way that Darwin saw the world as beautiful and powerful.
If you could take someone else's class at Earlham, whose class would you take and what class would it be?
I have really been wanting to take Judy's ceramics class. I love ceramics, and I used to get to do it a lot. And I just see the beautiful things that our students make, and I really, really want to get in that studio.
What is the best compliment you've ever received?
Okay, once somebody told me that I was graceful, and that is definitely the only time someone has ever said I was graceful, and it was really lovely.
What's one thing that you would like to see change in higher education?
That's hard. I think I would love to see higher ed be more accessible to more people.
Yeah. What's the most rewarding part of your job?
I think the rewarding part of my job is that I get to teach students about interacting with the public, and so I get to help the public while helping students, so it's like this dual impact thing. So our visitors are getting this great experience, they're learning, and our students are providing the experience, but also learning while they're doing it and finding their own passion for science communication.
What's one thing you want students to take away from your class?
I guess I hope that they find confidence in their ability to understand the world around them, that they can pick up on the cues that they see, and that they know how to study the world around them and take inspiration from there.
Do you think Earlham is a pretty diverse campus?
So diverse, and it's diverse in like visible ways as well as really invisible ways. I think I worked with one of my students for 3 years before I found out that he was a political refugee. And my students are always telling me, oh, do you want to come and see my performance or my concert? Or, I've got an exhibition up. And like, the students are just so full of really neat backgrounds.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I definitely received advice to meditate, which is very hard for me because it does mean stopping. But then I discovered active meditation, so you can keep doing things while meditating, and that definitely works for me.
Nice. What advice would you give a student coming to Earlham?
Get engaged. It can be hard, like your brain or body might be saying, just stay inside, just stay by yourself. But it's really sometimes we get the wrong cues, and being out and taking a risk, asking for help, asking, can I do this? Can I work with you? Can I be part of this project? Do those things.
What's your favorite spot on campus?
It's the museum right here,
It's a pretty cool museum.
isn't it?
What do you think is special about Earlham?
I mean, besides the world's most complete fossil giant beaver or the mastodon, I mean, I think it's really that we're all here because we really care. We really care about making the world a better place and about supporting each other to be able to do that.
To everyone watching this video, why do you think they should apply to Earlham?
I would say apply to Earlham if you really care about the greater good. If you're really someone who wants to go out there and you see things that you want to change and you want to get the skills and the knowledge and the connections to be able to make that difference, this is your place.
Thanks, Heather.
It was good to see you.